back. We're live. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Friday, August 8th. Beautiful rainy day here in Camrose, Alberta. Mosquitoes everywhere. I mean, it's just really bad this year. And there's one circling me right now. So if you hear me talking like I'm gesturing frantically, I'm killing a mosquito. The call-in line is 1-844-374-5433. Once again, 1-844-374-5433. If you want to contact me by email and get something on the air, it's mike@teamglidden.ca. Or we have a line you can call if you're too shy for radio. You can contact a member of my team if you want to get down with the products, you want to get on board with longevity, save your life, save your family and friends' lives, or just not get sick in the first place due to a over-nutrified body. We got you covered, 1-800-705-6892. I want to talk about Ebola for a little bit here. I've been really looking into this whole Ebola thing, and it's all I hear on the news every day and on these other shows. People are freaking out about Ebola. I was just reading an article on orthomolecular.org, okay? And there is an increasing school of thought and a lot of scientists and doctors saying that selenium will head off Ebola. Okay? So if you're out there huddled in your basement with your storable foods and a bunch of ammunition waiting for hordes of Ebola victims, I mean, I don't think it's necessary. I'm not scared of it. And the reason is because I take a whole lot of selenium. Okay? And if you listen to, like, the Robert Scott Bell show and a few other places, Ebola is not going to be a problem for you if you have a nutrified body. Notice that a lot of the people that are dying from it right now are in West Africa. Okay, you got Liberia. You got these countries that are so screwed up. No sanitation standards, no healthy food or nutrition going into these people. And the Ebola virus comes along and it wipes them out pretty quickly. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to worry about Ebola as long as you're nutrified. And while we're on the subject, why are we only hearing about Ebola in the news when Vioxx has killed more people? Okay? Seriously. You know, if you go to drugwatch.com, drugwatch.com. Great website. I can't recommend it highly enough, and I'm trying to get one of those guys on the show here. But they post recall information. They post all these different strategies, lawyers you can call if you've had a bad knee replacement, if you've been a victim of a drug that has seriously caused you harm. And you know what? I recommend you do sue them. I do, but get nutrified in the process so you can get better after, because so what if you have a bunch of money if your health is in the can? Right? I mean, here, this is from drugwatch.com. Vioxx recall information. Just a few years after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved Vioxx, the drug was recalled because of the risk of deadly heart attacks and strokes. When Vioxx hit the market, the goal was to expand the drug's reach worldwide to as many patients as possible. While Vioxx patients numbered about 80 million quickly, most didn't know that the drug was jeopardizing their health. Now, notice the goal was to get it in as many people as possible. The goal was never to help you. The goal was never to make you better. And they ignored any data that would contradict a spreadsheet. And as a result, well, let's read on. Vioxx, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug and a prescription painkiller, was approved for use by the FDA in 1999. In the years that followed, it was mired in scandal. Merck was accused of misleading doctors and patients about the drug's safety, fabricating study results to suit the company's needs, continually thwarting an FDA scientist from revealing the drug's problems, and skirting federal drug regulations. In 2004, Merck withdrew the drug from the market after a study revealed the drug more than doubled the risk of heart attacks and death. But by that point, more than 38,000 deaths were related to Vioxx use, and up to 25 million Americans had taken the drug. And you're worried about Ebola? I'm more scared of the FDA and the drug companies than Ebola. Vioxx caused so much damage and destruction that some have called it the worst drug disaster in history. The Vioxx scandal wasn't just devastating to the injured patient and their families, it also underscored problems within the FDA. Do you think? Many suspect that the New Jersey-based Merck and the FDA worked together to keep the drug on the market and quiet the health concerns. Can you say death panel? The suspicions about the Merck-FDA tie ran deep. They started early on when Merck tried to convince the FDA that Vioxx was better than other NSAIDs because it caused few digestive tract problems. Even before the drug was FDA approved, the company launched its Vioxx gastrointestinal outcomes research study to determine the digestive risks. While the study did show that Vioxx was easier on the digestive system than other drugs in the same category, it also revealed that it increased risk of heart problems. Okay, so they knew it right there. What did they do? After that, Merck continually hounded the FDA to allow the drug to drop the digestive warnings on the label. In February 2001, the FDA approved Merck's request to change the drug's label to reflect that it's safer on the stomach than other drugs in the same class, although that label change would later be overturned. It was a feather in Merck's cap. About the same time, the FDA ordered the company to send doctors a letter explaining the drug's heart risks, and it wouldn't be the first time that Merck's huge marketing monster was reprimanded. Fingers slapped. The whole time that Merck was promoting Vioxx as a superior alternative for those with gastrointestinal problems, the company was also brushing aside the drug's cardiovascular risks. It wasn't until April 2002, years after the Vigor trial results showed the risks, that the FDA and Merck decided to include the heart and stroke information on the drug label. Oh yeah, so they put it on the label. How many people read the label? I mean, really. Critics would later point to this as evidence of the cozy relationship between Merck and the FDA and the company's blaze attitude towards the risks. When the trial results were finally published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine, no one knew that it was missing some key information. Later, the public would learn that Merck scientists left out key data on heart patients to make the drug seem safer. The editor of the journal later demanded a correction, but the scientists who conducted the study refused. We can't be wrong. We're a bunch of scientists. While the drug was removed from the market on September 30th, 2004, it was just the beginning of the controversy surrounding it. U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission investigated the company for its deceptive and strong-arm marketing practices. An FDA scientist who discovered the Vioxx heart connection early on said his FDA bosses forced him to quash information that was potentially damaging to Merck. Government officials continually question the relationship between Merck and the FDA. And perhaps in the most shocking turn of events, and perhaps underscoring Merck's close relationship with the FDA and other drug regulatory agencies, advisory panels in both the United States and Canada in 2005 voted that Vioxx could return to the market under certain circumstances and restriction. So far, Vioxx remains recalled. So, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about profits. It's about spreadsheets. It's a murder machine, really. No wonder the American Medical Association, or AMA, is constantly referred to as the American Murder Association. Let's go over to Antoinette in Brooklyn. Antoinette, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Good to hear you, Antoinette. I love your name. That's a great name, Antoinette.
Thank you.
How you doing, Antoinette?
I'm doing so fine.
Okay. What's on your mind today?
Okay. First of all, I have a question about my weight. Then the second question is about actually, I don't know if that's the problem, but recently I started having these pimples, like red pimples coming up, like my skin, when I scratch my hand, it actually comes up, but it comes up and it's like real red, like swelled so big.
Like welts?
It hurts.
Like a welt?
I went to the doctor Monday and they told me that I was bit by something, which is not, because I wake up this morning and I have the same problem. Like, whenever I scratch my skin, the same pimple comes up, and it's like paining so bad. So I was wondering if, like, it has something to do with, like, my son just turned 8 months. Uh-huh. So I was wondering if it's all those things, those shots or whatever that I got from the hospital or whatever. I don't even know.
So this is your son?
Yeah, my son is 8 months.
8 months. Okay, well, first of all, congratulations on having an 8-month-old son. That's great.
Thank you.
All right. Second of all, Antoinette, I hear the music. That means I'm going to have to put you on hold, and we're going to get back to you after this commercial break. Antoinette, you stay right there because we got your number. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We will return after these messages. We are live. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, coming back at you here with some fight music. And it's appropriate because we are in a fight. As Dr. Wallach once said to me, we got wars to win there, Phillip. Talking to Antoinette in Brooklyn before the break, and she's got some skin issues going on. And you know what, Antoinette? My sister actually had the exact same thing going on, where if she scratched her skin, she would get welts. Now, hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Antoinette?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, good. I was just saying, years ago, my sister actually had the same thing going on, where if she scratched her skin, she would get painful welts. Okay?
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened in a long time. And now the reason for that is because she's been on the longevity, and she had a whole bunch of skin issues. It wasn't just that. She would get little sores on her face, and she's a really beautiful girl, okay? And so that really bothered her. But what happened was we got her gluten-free, okay? Gluten-free. You're going to have to drop gluten from your diet. No barley, no rye, no wheat, no oats, no oatmeal, no nothing, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do. Now, there's actually 10 foods that we tell people never, ever to eat, and gluten is number one on the list. Now, if you go to fireyourmdnow.com, that's fireyourmdnow.com, scroll down the page, you'll see a blue arrow that says register. And if you put in your email address, Dr. Glidden's team will send you a YouTube video called Against the Grain as to why you should never eat gluten. And I've seen women actually lose a lot of weight just going gluten-free. Now, the second thing, okay, with skin issues, you're going to need the EFAs in the Healthy Start Pack. That's essential fatty acids. Now, there are 12 amino acids and 3 fatty acids that you require every day. Now, what you can also do to top that up is add in with your Healthy Start Pack the HGH Youth Complex, and that will also give you absolutely tremendously beautiful skin, and that's what every woman wants, right, Antoinette?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. Let's talk about the weight loss, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
As I mentioned, with the gluten consumption, if you cut that off, you will start to lose weight, okay? Now, you nutrify your body, and I've seen women, I actually know one personally that lost 30 pounds in about 2 months, not even exercising, just taking the Healthy Start Pack, okay? I know a guy that lost 90 pounds, not exercising, taking the Healthy Start Pack. Now, how did you hear about this show, Antoinette?
I heard it from my cousin. She actually gave me the number to call, and she insists that I call.
You know what? You got a great cousin there, because this is something that's going to help you out definitely. Now, you and your cousin get together, and both of you can pitch $10. It costs you $20 to become a Team Glidden Insider. And you'll see how you can do that when you get to fireyourmdnow.com. And Dr. Glidden has countless hours of webinars where he teaches you how to get your health back from a variety of issues. But there's also a webinar on prenatal nutrition and nutrition for children. Okay? So if you want that son of yours to grow up avoiding all these problems, I can't recommend that enough. And there's also lots of good information on healthy weight loss. What the doctors would do is do a gastric bypass or a band around your stomach, or cut out part of it, or they got a little balloon in a pill that you swallow, and that thing pops open so you can't eat as much, but you're still starving of nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay, so none of those are good answers. So what I suggest to you, how much do you weigh, Antoinette?
So, like, a couple months ago, I was weighing like 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is not good. Since I have my son, I never lose weight. Like,
Antoinette, stay right there. Stay right there. Okay. I'm going to put you on hold. We got a break. I'll come right back to you, okay? We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. We're live. Had a little break there. Ran outside, did a few things. I'm getting good at this radio thing. Before the break, we were talking to Antoinette in Brooklyn. We're going to go right back to her. She had a baby 8 months ago or so, and she's looking to lose some weight, looking to lose some skin conditions. And if you listen to Dr. Wallach's show, the first thing he asks anyone just about 100% of the time is if they have a skin condition. Well, what he's doing is he's looking for a gluten intolerance. So, Antoinette, you've got to kick gluten to the curb. It's got to go. So, if you do that, not just for you, but for your son and for your husband or boyfriend or anybody else. If you've got any other kids, get it right out of your house. I don't want your dog to eat it, okay? So, actually, you know what? That's a funny story. My friend, he didn't really listen to me too much about all this, and he had a dog named Zoe, and she had a skin condition for a long time, and I told him, get her off gluten, get some colloidal silver, put it on there, and it's clear right up, get her to put some EFAs in her food, and he said, no, my vet says, and so, he was buying her all these expensive antibiotic creams to put on her paws and other areas of her anatomy to get rid of this painful rash that the dog had. And after about 3 months of that, he went back to his vet, and the vet said, maybe you should get her on a gluten-free diet with EFAs, with amino and fatty acids. He did, and the dog was fine. So, point is, listen to old Mike Phillip here. He knows what he's talking about. But like I said, my sister had the same thing going on with the skin condition, exactly like what you described. That is now gone. So the other thing is that you just had a baby a little while back, and you are most likely really malnourished, okay? You're probably eating every day, but you're not getting the nutrients you need in your food. And that baby had to be built inside of you out of something, and that means that those nutrients to build that baby, the minerals and the vitamins and everything that went into it were coming out of you. So, I was reading some articles from Global News here in Alberta, where I live in Western Canada, and they were saying that in the next 5 years, they expect 1 in 10 pregnancies to end in type 2 diabetes for the mother. Of course,
really?
They can't. Yeah, that's right. And they can't figure out why, but they are just minerally deficient. Well, that doesn't have to happen to you because you called into this show. So get together with your cousin and learn how to use this stuff and learn how to get your health back so that you're not driving down to the hospital with your son someday because he's having an asthma attack or getting diabetes or multiple sclerosis or any of these other problems that people are suffering from. Just avoid it altogether. And if you think it's expensive now, it's not half as expensive or even a quarter as if you develop a problem down the road and have to go through the medical system. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like to mention, Antoinette?
Okay, there's another thing. The next thing is like when I got out of the hospital, 2 months after I started feeling pain in my wrist.
Yeah.
And actually I went to the doctor, but the bone is actually coming, like, it's out. So I did an X-ray on it, and they said nothing is wrong with my hand. So I asked the doctor why the bone is like this. He was like, oh, because you actually use that hand all the time, which I really don't understand that, because I know a lot of people do use, either the left or the right hand, and I know a lot of people don't have the problem that I'm having. So I have to go back to the doctor to have a brace for the bone to be back in, because at the wrist, the bone is actually coming out.
Wow.
It pains a lot of time. It really pains.
Right.
I don't know.
So when you get your Healthy Start Pack, okay?
Yeah.
There's a product in there called OsteoFX, and I also had problems with a wrist. I was a drummer, and I worked with power tools that were very heavy, sometimes for 12 to 16 hours a day. And I had carpal tunnel syndrome, and that cleared up in about 2 months. Now, what you're describing to me might be a little bit different, but it's in the same area. And when I got on the OsteoFX with the Healthy Start Pack, that went away in short order. So I would like to see the same thing happen with you, and I'm very confident that it can. Now, we don't cure anything, okay? We don't treat anything, and I have to say that for legal reasons, but your body has wisdom. Your body knows how to fix itself. Just like you get a cut on your arm, and that cut heals up in a few days, your internal organs, your skeletal structure, your skin, that all can fix itself too. So, 10 bad food lists. Go to fireyourmdnow.com and get that list and get yourself a Healthy Start Pack and see what happens. And if you need extra help, keep in touch with the show. Keep listening, because you're going to hear people calling in with the same problems that you have, and we have a tremendous, tremendous success rate.
Okay.
So I want you to have that too. Yeah. All right.
I will. Thank you so much.
You have a great day, Antoinette. We're going to let you go. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea, you don't have to suffer. Anything I have to say on this show today, that's the bottom line. You don't have to suffer. You've been paying for ineffective medical treatments for a long time. You've been paying for drugs that'll kill you. You've been paying for getting staph infections from so-called professionals. They never blame themselves. The government sticks up for these drug companies. The drug companies lobby the government. They got deep pockets. Okay? But you don't have to listen. Okay? You do not have to do what they say. If you were listening yesterday, my wife and I went to a rheumatologist up in Edmonton, the city near where I live, and this woman told her she needed antidepressants, and when we said no, she said, well, you have to. I mean, these people, who the hell do you think you are? Right? But that's how it is. They are Moses on the mountain, and you are the lowly chattel slave, and you need to listen up. Okay? Now, along the same vein of what I was talking about earlier, first, Xarelto bleeding lawsuits filed. FDA rejects new use. This is coming at you from drugwatch.com. Drug giants Bayer and Johnson & Johnson faced the first lawsuits related to safety concerns for the billion-dollar blood thinner Xarelto, according to Reuters. See, so I'm not just picking on Merck here. Plaintiffs filed claims after severe internal bleeding sent them to the hospital. In those cases, patients took Xarelto, and their claims blame the excessive bleeding on that use. Unlike warfarin, a trusted mainstay for preventing blood clots for the last 50 years, Xarelto does not have an antidote to stop uncontrolled bleeding, which can be fatal. And I'd just like to back up and say warfarin is rat poison. Rat poison. Okay, you don't have to get blood clots if you're mineralized. You don't have to take rat poison, and you don't have to get internal bleeding for a damn drug. Kentucky resident Virginia Stuntneck filed a lawsuit against Bayer in the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Stuntneck was hospitalized after she took Xarelto and suffered severe gastrointestinal bleeding in 2013. And you're scared of Ebola. She claims the drug should not be sold and that Bayer and J&L continued to sell it even if they knew the risks. Sound familiar? The companies also did not inform the public. Sound familiar? As the manufacturer and distributors of Xarelto, defendants knew or should have known that Xarelto use was associated with irreversible bleeds, Stuntneck's complaint said. In May, Boehringer Ingelheim paid $650 million to settle thousands of internal bleeding cases involving its blood thinner Pradaxa. The drug hit the market in 2010, a year before Xarelto. Both drugs shared the same bleeding side effects. Attorneys say they expect more lawsuits after people become aware of the dangers of the drug. First wave of claims comes a few months after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration advisory panel gave Xarelto a unanimous thumbs down for approval as a treatment for patients with sudden reduced blood flow to the heart, including heart attacks, chest pain, also known as acute coronary syndrome. While the drug is approved for a number of uses, of course, adding approval for ACS would grant Xarelto access to the 1.2 million Americans who are sent to the hospital each year with the condition. And this panel decision was also a third strike for Bayer and J&L for FDA approval. Strike 3, you're out, right? You get caught stealing a block of cheese because your family's starving. It's your third strike, and you're going away forever in some states. You ever heard of that happening? Well, these guys got their third strike for killing thousands of people. They're still around. The panel voted that the drug should not be used to prevent new heart attacks and stroke in patients with ACS because there was not enough clinical data to support the approval. The experts added that some trial data was actually missing. We appreciate the thoroughness of the committee's review and continue to believe that Xarelto, in addition to the current standard of care, may help improve patients with ACS, additional protection against life-threatening cardiovascular events such as death, heart attack, and stroke. Paul Burton, VP of Clinical Development for J&L's Janssen R&D segment, said in a statement. Despite the fact that the drug companies face litigation about another drug that has a controversial safety profile, Xarelto's sales appear to be strong, and partners Bayer and J&L are making healthy profits. In the first year of the drug's sales, Bayer generated about $431 million in Europe. J&L earned $239 million in U.S. sales. Sales in both large markets continue to climb. The drug follows in the footsteps of its predecessor, Boehringer Ingelheim's Pradaxa, another drug that has robust sales. Even though the risk of internal bleeding concerned doctors, it did not appear to stop them from prescribing it. If you ain't mad, you're not paying attention. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Bayer and J&L continue to pursue FDA approval despite being shut down for ACS treatment. The companies are conducting studies on whether or not the drug can be used in combination with aspirin to stop heart attacks, death, and stroke. In addition, the companies plan to start testing Xarelto on patients with chronic artery disease and heart failure. They're going to generate $3.68 million in annual sales. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back with more crappy news after this. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're live. Final segment of Friday, August 8th, Fire Your MD Now radio show. And as I promised, I have more bad news. And I'm not just going to pick on Merck and GlaxoSmithKline and all these other companies. Let's talk about knee replacements for a little bit. We actually did the webinar last night in my group meeting on healthy bone and joints, and we had a lady show up for the first time. Never heard Dr. Glidden before, but she watched the Advanced Bone and Joint webinar, and she signed up the very next day. Turns out she's scheduled to get a knee replacement in December down in a town called Medicine Hat here in Alberta. Now get this. Here's the headline. Zimmer recalls 40,000 next-gen knee models. Okay, so this isn't a drug. This is a knee replacement. Zimmer Manufacturing initiated another sweeping recall on one of its artificial knee implants, the next-gen MIS tibial component. This time because one of the pieces could loosen or fail because of shoddy manufacturing. Zimmer said the threads on the next-gen complete knee solution tibial component might be out of specification in more than 40,000 devices. Now, how many of them are already in people's legs? In its letter to medical professionals, Zimmer said some of the tibial base plates were made with defective threads in a hole where surgeons screw in a drop-down stem extension or stem plug. If not threaded correctly, the device could loosen and fail. And guess what? It's in your leg. You're stuck with it. You know what? This longevity thing is looking better and better all the time. Zimmer said the problematic device could lead to one or more post-surgery complications. Number one, infection. The patient runs the risk of serious infection if the surgery is delayed or if a secondary implant is not immediately available and the surgeon must close the patient and return later. So many people are running around with these things and don't even know this. Bone loss. The patient may have additional bone loss if the tibial device is cemented in place and the surgeon must remove and replace it. Because it's cemented in, they've got to take out the piece where the cement is. Early revision surgery. If the device loosens or infection occurs, this could lead to revision surgery. And revision is what they call it if they have to go back in and mess around or replace a bad knee or hip joint. Dislocation. If the stem is not properly placed, the devices may not adequately lock. This could lead to dislocation. The voluntary recall affects 41,180 devices and includes 8 sizes. Zimmer initiated the recall after it received 12 complaints in a 2.5-year period. The faulty devices were distributed during a 4-year period between February 2010 and May 2014. Recall started May 19th. Very interesting. So you know what? Don't bother getting a fake knee, okay? Your body knows how to fix itself. It wants to fix itself. And if you want to get on board with a team that actually cares about how you do with your health, we're not a bunch of money-grubbing, low-life network marketers over here at Team Glidden. You can contact me personally, Mike at teamglidden.ca. Once again, that's Mike at teamglidden.ca. Or you can get a hold of us, 1-800-705-6892. And I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to that lady that signed up today not having to get that knee surgery. She's got till December, and she's on the right track. I see a lot of really beautiful people with great personalities hurting and in bad shape all the time. And if you're one of them, you don't have to be. Shoot me an email, Mike at teamglidden.ca. Now, this coming week, I'm going to be on the air Monday and Tuesday, and then the following Friday. And after that, Dr. Glidden's going to be back, and you can call in anytime. We love to deal with this sort of stuff. It's what we do. Mike Phillips signing off of filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Everybody have a great weekend, and I'll be back Monday. Peace out.